So this video really is aimed at more newcomers to gardening, the novices. And I just want to show you a little bit of a trick and a tip of the trade really. And I'm calling this one Garden Centre Gift, because you probably don't know, but when garden centres take in their plants, they buy them like this. This is Buxus sempervirens, and I love Buxus. Now, I know we hear about box blight. We're further up north in England, and we tend to not suffer it as much. If you do suffer with box blight, by the way, as a side idea here, go for something called Top Buxus, and it's a feed, and it's absolutely fantastic, and it will revive even dead and dying, no, not dead, but dying Buxus that has the dreaded box blight. So, anyway, right, so this is Buxus sempervirens. Now, what most novices will not realise, they'll think, oh, wow, that's an absolutely stunning plant, that. And it is. It's lovely, isn't it? Look at that. Very healthy. I picked these up yesterday. Now, at the garden centre I went to, I don't like garden centres, I do point this out, but it's the one place I can get trees and shrubs from is garden centres. It's easy. I've ordered 3 more plants yesterday, but I didn't get them from the garden centre. I got those from a specialist nursery. So I don't aim for average plants that you can find in garden centres. In fact, if anything, I'll shy away from them. I will buy some that I love that are cheaper at the garden centres, but in general, I won't buy anything from there. But this is a gift. This is a garden centre gift as far as I'm concerned. So to you novices, I'll shut up now and tell you what I'm going to tell you. That plant there, as good as it looks, just make an adjustment here. So as good as that looks, that is not one plant. That is 3 plants, or likely to be on this case. I haven't checked it. I should have maybe checked it. Yes, I should have checked it. But anyway, that, what they do at the nurseries, they plant 3 into a pot just to make it look good like that. Now, each one of those plants has got to grow. Now, eventually it will be fine and they will grow together in your trench or in your hole or wherever you're putting it, into your pot, your clay pot or whatever. But, recommendation, take it out. Look at that. That's very, very healthy, that. That's a very healthy root system. Very. But what they've done is they've given you 3 plants. And what you must do, or you should do, is, it's going to be a bit difficult because I'm trying to film this on camera, is, let's get the little forks out. What you should try and do, if you can, don't be afraid of this, box is very forgiving. Get your forks back to back, like that, and rip them apart. So, rip them apart. Gently rip them apart. Don't worry too much. If you're a bit more unsure, then be careful. But basically, rip them apart. So we'll push that in further. Are you looking? Oh, bugger. Push that in further. Push that one in further. And then we can start the process again. And if we gently tease it apart, this is what we get. Look at this. Hey? Look at that. That is a cracking plant on its own. A plant from 3. So often we'll find this where we get 2 smaller plants. There's nothing wrong with that either. In fact, is that another one? No, that's 1 plant. So that's great. And this is what they do. And the reason they do it is because they want to fill up the pot quicker. They want to encourage you to buy it. So from that, we get that. Look at that. So if you're a novice and you don't know this goes on, it does. This is what they do. So if I was you, I would go out immediately to your garden centre if you're in the UK, because Buxus sempervirens are in there in vast quantities. And I had to buy a minimum of 10 pots, like that. And I would then get them at £1.75. So I bought 18 plants, let's say 20, 40, 60. So I've ended up with, is it 56? My maths is crap. I've ended up with triple the amount of plants that I bought. So I'm practically buying them for 50, 60 pence a plant, getting good plants. Now these will all catch up over time. Time is all it is. This is okay. It will grow no faster than them ones. Eventually they will be just as thick as that one there. So that's great, isn't it? So that's what we get by carefully choosing the right plant. Now, it happens with other plants. It happens with perennials. It's not just shrubs that they do it with, but particularly Buxus sempervirens, they do that. They put them into these pots. So every plant I've got, and I've checked these, in fact I checked them at the garden centre, to be quite honest, don't feel like you can't pull these out of their holders. And what I did was I went through the holders and made sure that within each pot there's 3 plants, and there should be. There's always 3 in there. And I selected the better ones. Don't feel you can't lift them out. Please don't take them out of the pots like that and check the root system. They're generally good. You can tell just looking at that, that's good. But I know that some garden centres get dead annoyed if you pull them out of the pots. And rightly so. Just leave them alone. If you do want to pull them out of the pots, go and get a member of staff and ask them to do it. I never do. I go and do it. I'm just telling you that because that's the right thing to tell you. If it was me, I'd be in there pulling them out of the pot and having a look at the root system, because sometimes they've only just been potted on, and you'll know that straight away as soon as you pop them out. But that's what we get. So we've got all those Buxus sempervirens now at a fraction of the cost. So obviously you've got to buy 10 pots to get you £1.75, or there would have been something like £2.50. And by buying more, even if you don't need them, go and buy them because you can store them aside. So what I can do now is I can repot these things on. Now, you might be asking right now, what size pot? Well, that's up to you, really. You've seen I've took all those 3 plants out of this, is it a 9 centimetre pot? 9 centilitre, I don't know how they describe it. So you think, oh, look at that. Don't go back in, does it? Look at that. They've forced them in there. That's why they've got such a good root system, because they've been forced into it. So the root system's grown very quickly and condensed, but that is a matted root zone anyway, and this is what Buxus sempervirens do. So what would I do? I would go for a 1 litre. Now, what's this one? I've got that many pots in here. It's crazy, really. Let's have a look. That's a 1 litre. So this is a 1 litre pot. So let's show you. There's your 9 centimetres and there's your 1 litre. Now, clever thing that garden centres do, and I know this because I used to be a manager of one, is we would get that plant from that size to that size, and we would say £1.75, well actually £2.69 was it, or something like that. If I put that plant from that pot into that pot, and let's just demonstrate this. So we'll just bung some pre-prepared soil. Right, so if we do this, take that out, a bit more out, just bear with me. So we get that in there like that. Are we on camera? Yeah. Sorry about the scruffy shirt, jumper. I've had this for years. I refuse to get rid of it. I've only had it 20 years. Why get rid of it now? Got to be a bit thrifty. A bit thrifty, especially at this time. Right, so there we go. Look at that. Right, look at that. So, I now know, instead of being a £2 odd plant, that becomes a £3 something plant. And that's just because I've moved it into there. Now, the reason they're charging you more is because they've had to do that work, and they've had to put more compost in there, and they've had to increase the plant pot size. But I could almost double that plant price from that. This is all psychological, people. All psychological. If you was going to buy that, which one would you go for? The left one every time. It looks bigger, but it's not. Often they're not. Often they're just put into a 1 litre plant to make them look better. It's no better than the one on the right. But the one on the right's got 3 plants in it. The one on the left has got 1. Now, admittedly, you've got that one. Now, that one there, because it is such a small one, I would not be adverse to putting that back into the 1 litre, at the 9 centilitre. That would sit quite happily in there, and I'd be quite happy to do that. So remember, that one there is a lot. This one here, that one there is a lot bigger in its root zone. So I would have no qualms about, let me just show you something else while we're here. Sometimes you get this matted root, and sometimes some of it doesn't want to be on that one because it belonged to the other one. So we just take it off. That just literally came off without any resistance whatsoever, and that's ready to go. Shake the soil out of it. You can put that one back into there because it is a smaller root zone. It will take it. and then you just simply fill it back up like that. There you go, shake it about. I will push these ones down because they need it. So there we go. Bear with me, bit awkward filming this. And there we go. One more to plant up. I'd get that in another 1 litre, but the chances of me having another 1 litre in this place is a bit unlikely. We've got a more squat form, slightly bigger. Is that 1.5? No, it's 1.3. 1.3. I would still put it in there. What I wouldn't do is put it in too big a pot. So I wouldn't put it into a pot that big because the roots take way too long. So if you was going to put it in a pot like this, way too big, people, way too big. It'll take ages for its roots to get going and it'll be lacking in growth until they do. So keep it on the tight side like this. I'd prefer a 1 litre pot. You never know, there might be one in here somewhere. I prefer a 1 litre. Yep, found 1 litre here. Here we go. So instead of using the 1.3, which is much bigger, let's get into the 1 litre. It will grow better as a result. So good root system because the growers know what they're doing. It's a fact. But it's a garden centre's gift to you. They know that us clever people like me do this. They know that. They're not stupid. I've been doing this many, many years, and a lot of my books of sempervirens have been bought as one plant and then potted on, split and potted on. Now, if you've got something like this, clip it off. Don't need it. There you go. Now, these ones were trimmed up. As you can see at the top, these were all trimmed from the top, and the reason that would have happened is because the other ones had some new growth on it and it looked very, very pale like this. But these ones must have been trimmed just before, well, late end of autumn really, beginning of winter. And they would have cut it back and and then kept away under glass maybe, under plastic, in polytunnels, whatever. And then what you would get is a nice looking plant. But the ones that were at the garden centre, and this is another tip for you, check them over, because if we've had frost and the garden centres have had to put them out, they will be frosted on the tips. So although some were looking that much bigger than these ones, I avoided them. Didn't need them, because what I would have done with those was that I would have immediately clipped them back anyway, because some of them were already frosted, whereas these had been done last year. So just, you know, be a bit savvy and look around, and yeah, you can get 3 plants out of that. Isn't it amazing what you can do? So there we go. So from that one plant, I've got 2 in 2 litres, like that, and then the 1 in 1 litre. Look at that. What a difference, though, there it looks. You cannot believe all them 3 came from just 1, like that. It's unbelievable. 3 plants for the price of 1. Garden centre gift. So we're now in January. It's time to go out and find these bargains. They're all out there. They're getting all the new stuff in at the moment. I suggest you immediately run out, get to your garden centre and look for the bargains, because they are out there. And I've noticed that some of the plant prices have come down as well, which is a good thing. It's always a good thing. So try and get as many free as you can. Why waste more money than you have to? So I shall... Not today, I ain't got time at the minute, but in another night when I get home, I shall split all those out, all these pots out, and I'm going to end up with 54 plants. Is that right? I'll say 20, so let's 20, 40, 60, 60 times 100. Hang on, how many plants did I have? Yeah, 20 plants times 3 is 60, so it isn't, there's less in there, but let's say that. Yeah, my maths ain't great. I'm a gardener, I'm not a mathematician. There you go. So I'm going to get almost 60 plants out of there for the price of 20. And that's going to be absolutely fantastic. And don't forget, because I bought them on a deal, I bought them cheaper, I've managed to do that. Now, there were some other ones in there, which was £3.50, £4. They were about that much taller. there. They were about there. That much taller from there. And they were more money. They were in 1 litre pots. They weren't much bigger plant. They're probably double the price of the little ones. Believe me, buy the smaller one. It will still catch up the same as those bigger ones. Those bigger ones were probably 6 months to a year longer in the pots, but they'll be fine. They'll grow just as quick. So if you're on a budget, you're trying to be thrifty, get the smaller ones, not the little tiny ones. Some of them that they will bring out will be tiny little cuttings like that. Don't get them. Try for these ones. These are probably, I'd say these are 2 to 3 year old strikes. And don't forget, they might be younger than that because they've put good feed in. They've got them under glass, under plastic, in polytunnels. So they will be growing quite well anyway. Yeah. Okay. I've got no more to say on the subject of that, but I just thought I'd give you that little tip. And I hope you all do go out and have a look. Save money where you can. And your garden will look better for it. And your bank balance will definitely be better. Sorry about my rubbish mathematics. Like I say, I'm an artist and a gardener. Okay, talk to you later. Oh, and by the way, share the tip with your mates as well. Don't be mean to your friends. Show them what I've told you. All right, ta-da.